Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Bob Loeser, he's in the house. You know that music. Taxman Bob, as we affectionately call him here in our studios. Bob, how are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. First, I want to wish all the listeners a happy, healthy 4th of July, and I hope they all take a moment to thoroughly believe that despite the fact that we may not have one of the best soccer teams in the world, this is the best country.
In spite of our best efforts.
That's right. God bless America.
In spite of our government's best efforts, we're still the best company. Yeah, it's interesting, the soccer game. But you know, I want to remind people of what it was like, a month ago when they said we were going to be obliterated the first round.
Right, correct.
You know, so I think we have nothing but pride. We should be pounding our chest. Of course, that hurts.
The fact that they were in the group of death,
and they survived,
and they survived it, and could have easily won a game they tied with Portugal that they just literally lapsed for a brief 3 seconds, and the goal was scored with 10 seconds left in the game to tie. But in the same token, the game against Belgium on Tuesday, the overtime was phenomenal. I mean, it was like watching Stanley Cup hockey, where the shots were going on the Belgian net and they were making save after save after save, or bouncing off a leg or whatever, that we would have been proud if they would have tied it. But in the same token, they didn't give up after they went down 2-0.
Nope. It was phenomenal. And that goalie, he may not be the greatest goalie ever, but he played the greatest game of any goalie ever.
That's a highlight film. I mean, that game in itself is a highlight career film.
That's incredible. All right, so let's talk about stuff that matters. I'm just joking. I'm in one of those weird moods, So tell us about what's going on the money front. The personal and business money front.
We've just passed the half point of the year, if you can believe that. And
lies, I tell you.
There are people out there that are still procrastinated. They haven't settled their affairs for 2013, let alone start talking about 2014. But we're getting into, over the next couple weeks, financials for a lot of our clientele that'll determine what's happened for the first half year and what they're projecting forward for the second half of the year. And although a lot of them are, close to the cuff, so to speak, in regards to what they'll say or do, things are going reasonably well. They may not be, gangbusters and business increasing 20-25%, but if close to the pocket business is increasing 10 to 15%, who's complaining?
I've got
friends back east that they'd take a 10% dip, let alone a 10% increase right now, and that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Pardon my vernacular.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you don't speak French, I'm okay. Talk a little bit about on the tax front. What are the most pressing things happening right now?
Interesting. I mean, we've got extensions for corporations through September. We've got personal tax returns extensions through October. And we've got the Texas franchise reports that were extended from May 15th all the way to November 15th. Now, again, that doesn't preclude that if you owe money, you are still going to pay penalties and interest on each one of these. Mm-hmm. In addition, we've talked about property renditions with the counties around Houston. Those should have been in by no later than, with extension, May 30th. So you may be getting notices saying that they've either assessed an amount for the end of the year, or they haven't gotten your report yet, or your report was late, and that's where you should talk to your advisors as to seeing if any of those penalties can be abated. Because a lot of instances, they'll lose an extension and then claim you're late.
Right.
All right. In addition, last note with the federal government, and I think it's out of the ordinary. We've had 5 returns this past week that the taxpayers got notices from the IRS with the simple facts that either pages were missing with a return, or W-2s that we know we attached are no longer attached.
Oh, interesting.
And each one of these, you want to guess if they were getting a refund or there was tax due?
I guarantee you they were getting a refund.
They were getting a refund. And 2 of them...
I don't even have to be a rocket scientist, let alone an accountant.
2 of them, the refunds were over $25,000. So you tell me what's going on. I think they get the return. They remove that staple from the upper left corner. They go through it and they go, Kevin's getting a $25,000 refund. Let's pull Schedule A out of here. That way we don't know what's on it, and then we'll have to ask them for a new Schedule A, and then it'll take another 6 to 8 weeks to process the return and get the refund. And if you don't think it happens,
you're very naive.
I got a piece of property in Manhattan to sell you.
Yes. You're very naive if you don't think that happens. And this happened now, how many clients?
It's 5 over the past week. I mean, a client
Wow.
said, why haven't I got my refund yet? Are they auditing my return? No. And then a couple days later, they get this notice saying, we couldn't find your W-2 attached to the return. Okay, now, the process in our office is, besides everything else, whatever needs to be attached is attached to the top page outside of the return. So you know before you send it, and before I sign it, that if you have 2 W-2s for the year, those 2 W-2s are attached to the return. So to tell me that they're not there, right.
Right.
My dog ate my homework.
25 grand, that's nothing. What do they do, run out of green ink over at Quick Copy? That's ridiculous.
Yep. So that's what's going on. So we've been responding to those this past week, and the clients think, well, what again, first response is, what did we do wrong? What did you do wrong, Loeser? And then it's like, well, what did the government do wrong?
Yeah, I would blame the government before I blame anybody. No question about it. Bob Loeser, Taxman Bob around here. Taxman Bob at pdq.net. Your number?
713-953-1272.
One more time.
713-953-1272. And operators are awaiting your call.
So, final thoughts?
I think as we go into this long weekend, I think, first off, I think we're grateful to, again, be Americans. 2, I think we're grateful to be in the Houston area and compared to other parts of the country, only because of the successes that are happening here. And they may be small, they may not be huge leaps, but if you take the average individual and over a beer start talking, things are relatively good compared to others in other parts of the country.
Thanks so much. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you the best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. And this is The Price of Business.
There's one for